Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to realestateinvestormba.com. At Real Estate Investor MBA, we strive to provide valuable information from various experts within the business and real estate community, covering real-time market and economic information as well as curriculum-level material within various real estate investing niches. We aim to be relevant, straightforward, and forthcoming with actionable information for our community. And here's your hosts, DeJesus and Jeremy Moyer.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Real Estate Investor MBA. I am a co-host here. My name is DeJesus, and Jeremy Moyer is to my right. And we have the lovely Jennifer DeJesus, who is one of the most professional and I would say most endearing realtors I know in the community. You've been a guide to me over the past few years, and I call you the queen of commercial because I think you are. But Jennifer has a property management company. She also has a very active real estate team. Why don't you tell a little bit about yourself, if you don't mind?
Sure. So I've been in the real estate business for about 11 years. And when I got involved in real estate, it was really just a means to an end. I was in corporate America and absolutely hated it and couldn't stand to work in somebody else's box. And I got into real estate because I just felt like it was, a place where I could kind of control my own destiny. And about a year into the business, I happened to get in contact with an investor that was looking to buy investment properties, and I helped him find his investment property. And then sure enough, he said right after that, "Can you manage it?" And at the time, I had no clue what he was talking about, but I was like, "Sure, what the heck, let's do it." And I remember walking into my broker's office at the time and just saying, "You got to help me. I can't let this guy down. I don't have any idea what I promised him, but I can't let him down." And, I honest to God, I figured it out. I worked with one client and got to learn, his, methods and what he was looking for in an investment property and why here and why the Lehigh Valley. And, that client is still, he's actually my financial advisor. He worked on Wall Street. He trades stocks and, he's just a wealth of information, but that relationship has brought me, an abundance of other clients and just, some very sophisticated, smart people that I've enjoyed the last 11 years learning from. So everything that I do about my business now is really to service the investors, and every entity that I have is about investment properties. So
yeah, that's what I was going to kind of throw in there. One thing that you've taught me in the real estate world is you have to be able to answer every client's question. And you taught me one thing, like legacy investing and things like that. You've been in the field much longer than I have, and you have that one client that then spur so much of your business. And I know you don't like to share it, but I know you have hundreds of units under your property management company. My team refers you as our property management advisor. So it's really cool to see how you've, kept the clientele and how difficult it is to find inventory and manage it. I know it's not a walk in the park. You have a lot of, you have a couple different corporations, but maybe you can talk about how you've really kind of conquered the landscape with your services.
Sure. I'd be happy to. So, when I got into, like I said, the investing, what I learned really quickly is that I enjoyed it, right? It became a very different business for me than typical real estate, right? So typical real estate, you have a client, you sell them a house, they buy a house, they live in that house forever, and then you've got to move on to the next client. The thing that is different about my business is that these are business relationships. They are partnerships. It's not a one-time transaction. And then maybe, the kids, or maybe they sell 10 years down the road. It's not at all that. It is, these are people that, buy property sight unseen. They're people that, trust me with millions and millions of dollars of their own money. But it's because I've mastered the understanding and the metrics to provide that one-stop shop is probably the best way to describe it, right? So how somebody interacts with me is, they could either come in by way of property management because they were referred from somebody like you, or, maybe they had a bad experience and they searched us out on the web. So we have a conversation and we see if we're a good fit, or they come in by way of real estate because they saw one of our investment listings, they called on it, they wanted more information, we helped them buy an investment deal. But then it's the step after that kind of is like where our sweet spot is. So, we take that investment that we've just taken the last 30 or 45 days to like develop a plan on. And then the property management company goes into action on that plan. And, I don't know any other real estate property management company or even real estate company where you not only have somebody that helps you look at the financials to purchase, but then has a plan and a team in place to actually have you act upon that, right? So as an example, like if we were saying, oh, I want to hit a 12% return and I want to do X, Y, and Z capital improvements, and I need to renew these leases and get lease increases, that is like what my team now goes and acts upon, right? Where I am involved is I'm involved in the financial side of it, right? So I don't do the day-to-day operations of property management at all. I have a very large team that does it. I have over 30 employees just in property management. That's all they do is facilitate the day-to-day operations. But I take that investment plan and I'm like their investment analysis, right? Or analyst, I should say. I help them analyze every property every single year. We do reviews. And I actually review my own performance with them, to say, okay, well, here's what the goals were when you bought this property. Look where we got to today, right?
I think also just to add in, like tax returns and stuff like that, property management is not as simple as it may seem. You have a lot of financial I's to dot.
Yeah. And we do everything. I mean, we are completely full service. It was funny because I just had a phone call today from somebody that is in construction. So he does all of his own repairs and maintenance. And he's like, oh, I only need somebody to collect rent. And I'm like, we're too expensive for you, buddy. You don't need me. We do full service. And, it's not something I'm even willing to sacrifice on. So not every client is the right client for us, but we are perfect for somebody that wants truly passive investments. Okay. Because they live out of state, or they don't know enough about it. They just know they want to invest in real estate. Maybe they don't have the team to do the construction, or maybe they don't have the team to do the financials behind it. We literally do everything from start to finish. Literally, you could turn off the camera, you could turn off your phone, and your property is going to make more money whether I ever talk to you again. Because, I want to make sure then too that, you're continuously, referring us, and that you're happy, because when you're happy, you also buy more, right? And then there's more properties, and that's where that business relationship kind of keeps on going. So it was always the real estate and the property management, but we've grown since then. So, so I've been doing this about 11 years, and it wasn't until about 4 years ago that I introduced a maintenance and repair company in-house, right? So instead of subbing out all the work, which is frustrating for anybody that has to do it, I now have employees that do all repairs and maintenance on all the buildings, right? And it allows me to keep costs at a minimum, right? Because we charge hourly plus materials. So we keep it at a cost. There's no vendor markup, right? So it allows us to control it. We have a better relationship with the tenants because we are there quickly. I'm not waiting for somebody to get there. And it just overall, it really equates to bottom dollars to the investor, because if I keep your tenant happy and I keep your repair costs down, you just made more money, so it really, really works very well together. And then, as we got better at the repairs and maintenance, and I started getting people saying, oh, well, what if, could you do like full-blown rehab?
Renovations.
So we started a construction company, and we have done major renovations. One of our most recent projects was we just did a 3-unit rehab in Slatington. Prior to that, we did a 5-unit in Northampton. We gutted an 8-unit apartment building in Bangor. And these people are all making crazy money, because we were able to, again, cut out the middleman. So, And these are like buy and hold strategies, not necessarily flips, although we could do flips for people. But you'll notice that if you really looked on the web, you would never find my construction company, right? You may find the website, but that's
I was just about to say that.
Yeah. And I do that on purpose because, and I know you'll yell at me, Tejas, because you think I should be advertising everywhere, but I really like flying under the radar. It makes me happy.
Yes.
But,
Navigate.
the reason I do the construction company is, again, for our client. It's a business relationship. It's just another entity that they can do business with, but also have consistency, right? So maybe someday I will run a construction company too that we put out to the general consumer. But right now, today, it is only a benefit for the clients that we do business with. And everything I do is really about those clients and just nurturing those relationships. So I'm okay with that, and that makes me happy because it makes me feel like I'm doing something special for them. And some of these people, some of the money that they've made is just, it's insane. If I told you, you wouldn't believe me.
That's how we get to measure our success, how much money we made our clients.
Absolutely. I always, when the new investors are saying stuff to me like, well, God, you charge a lot for property management. I said, well, first of all, if I'm not helping you make money, you should fire me because I suck, right? So, you need to find a property manager that helps you make money. But I always tell the story of, that first investor that I was telling you about, right? Always buys really small things, right? That's just his motto. He buys anything from like 2 to 4 units, really nothing bigger, because he just knows that that's kind of like the sweet spot in the Lehigh Valley for performance, right? For return. So, he always buys these like, 2 and 3 units, 4 units, whatever. And he sold one that we held for, I want to say 3 years, right? And, we sold it just recently, and he takes off, obviously, all the accounting to his accountant, and his accountant sends me an email, and he goes, this guy made 60% return on his money during the life of his ownership. First of all, how the hell did you do that? And second of all, I'm going to encourage him to quit his day job because you are going to make him a lot more money. And I was like, perfect. Awesome. That's all I needed to hear. So that's, again, we take a very delicate approach with helping people, but we also help them understand like what repairs to do, what improvements to make, when is the capital, when do you put the capital into the building, when you choose not to, and how does that equate to dollars on your return, right? And that's a big piece of the puzzle. And that's where I feel like you can hire anybody to do day-to-day operations, but can you hire somebody that understands the financials behind why you even invest to begin with?
Very true.
Right? So, and if they don't, you shouldn't really trust them with your money because we always say, right, real estate is your most highest dollar investment ever in your life, right? I don't think people spend more on the stock market than they spend on real estate, right? So, with all the things that you have, your most prized possessions or your most valuable possessions, why would you trust that to somebody that doesn't have a clue about why you even invest to begin with? So, that's kind of what we do. And then, we have a title company, that we've opened for a couple of years. Again, same kind of thing. The title company does do other business with other investors or other clients, other real estate agents. Tejas, we've done, some business through our title company too. But again, I want to cut out all the fees. I don't need all the extra fluff, right? I just want a vehicle for people to consistently be able to make money on their investments. I want the process to be, very streamlined. I want it to be no fuss, right? And when I'm talking to new investors on the phone and they're saying things like, well, do I have to get an attorney? Do I have to do this? Do I have to call my insurance broker? I'm like, no, I have it handled. I actually don't even want you involved. I just want you to listen to me and I want you to do exactly what I say and we're going to be perfect, right? No, but seriously, if people, I think, feel a sense of calm that they've got not just me, but they've got an entire organization of vendors and contacts and people that work really well together that have their back through the entire process. So that's a really big deal. And now we've got the fund that just launched in April.
That's the best part. Well, don't get into that yet. Jeremy has a question.
I will not. I will not. So that's the newest. That's the 2020 goal, right? And every year there's going to be something new. And we're thinking 2021. We're talking about, we're going to be doing hard money loans and all kinds of things. So, so there's always a new avenue.
That's awesome. But it's the system that you have, Jen, sounds amazing. I've been dying to ask you this question for like the last few weeks. ever since the COVID pandemic, it came out in like March timeframe. I've talked to a lot of investors, that invest here in the Valley and, freaking out, the buy and hold investors, especially the C-class properties. So what your property management company, I know you said you're not in the day-to-day, but I'm sure you hear some rumors or having some conversations with employees. What are you seeing right now? What are you seeing in the market? Do you see a Class A outperforming Class C? Do you see concern still in the market here in the Lehigh Valley?
That's a great question. I've been getting that question nonstop, since this whole, virus pandemic thing kind of went down. And, what I realize is, of course the reaction is, oh my God, right? But it didn't take very long for us to figure out that there's no oh my God here, right? First of all, the reason that people invest in the Lehigh Valley, right, and why this is such a hot market is the demographic of our tenant for the B and C class that you just mentioned are those essential workers, right? They work in the hospitals, they work in the grocery stores, they are in warehousing. Those are our tenants. That is our population of tenants. So we were able to have a very, very easy collection. Rent collection. We really were watching all of our numbers. We were making sure that, we weren't decreasing any kind of income, but across the board, not only were we releasing properties faster during COVID, sight unseen, but we were actually able to collect all of our rent and more than we had collected the previous month. So like say February. So, and our numbers kept growing. Again, this is why you hire a professional company, but the minute we knew that we were challenged with some kind of issue, and the biggest issue for us was not being able to show vacant apartments, right? It's that our construction had to stop. It's that, oh my God, now we've got all this vacancy out there. What's going to happen? So that was the most challenging for us. But the minute we knew that rent collection was a problem, we reached out to all the tenants. We asked for who was going to have a problem. We got them all the information of how to get help. And I think that was a big piece of it, is that we took that challenge as really our challenge, right? It was, okay, here's the problem. Now what's your solution? But I can honest to God say that we didn't have any decline in rent collection. We had no decline in our leasing ability. We did not have vacancies longer than we typically would, and we watched every number all the time. I also was a big advocate of giving our investors or our clients repeated updates, far more than they would ever have in any other situation, right? Just because I thought it was necessary in this situation when everybody was nervous. But, this is why people come to the Lehigh Valley and invest, and this is why this market is so hot. It is 100% recession proof. 100%.
Yes.
Right?
Thank you for saying that. Yes.
It absolutely is. And this is why I invest all my money here too. I mean, I have a ton of properties that I own and I feel very confident. Now to go back to Jeremy though, what you said is that the difference between that kind of A, B, and C class, I stay away from A class. I think it is an absolute bad investment. My perception, but I don't even tell my clients to go after it, right? A class should be left to developers, right? That's their thing, right? A class should be left to the people that know how to get the grants, that know how to get the tax credits, that get benefits from the towns. That's developers, right? They do well in the A class. But our clients really need the protection of the B and the C class markets, where your rent is can be more stabilized, right? And you're not affected by the economy. Because I guarantee you the next time, and it will, the economy shifts. Those A-class tenants now are moving to B-class because they can't afford A-class and they have to live more, economically. So my advice is always stay away from A-class. I'm not an advocate. I don't want you to buy it. I don't want to manage it because I don't want to have to tell you why I can't collect rent,
Mm-hmm. Makes a lot of sense.
So now that you kind of gave the appetizer for it, right? I am so excited that we get to say that Jennifer DeJesus and your team now has a private equity fund.
We do.
And this is, you and I talked, this has been years in the making, but I do think this goes back literally to like the beginning of like when you're a first realtor and you're trying to figure out, things, and then you finally learn a lot and then you develop another layer and another layer.
Yeah.
And I mean, what you're going into now is uncharted waters, but you've already been in these waters a million times. It's just doing it in a different way. So I know that there's a couple other very successful real estate teams in the Valley that have had a private equity fund. So I think this is going to be this is glorious for the Valley. I get to watch you do this the right way, in the right capacity. But let's talk about it. So the reason that you can do this is because you have solved a lot of different problems procedurally to be able to manage people's money via, a very difficult vehicle.
Yeah, absolutely. And I wouldn't be doing it if I didn't already have all the procedures in place. I mean, we are not at all the largest company out there, right? We're not the largest fund. We're not the largest brokerage. I don't have any aspiration to be any of those things. I just want to be the absolute best at what I do and provide the highest quality of service. So, I heard you on, a call earlier, DeJesus, saying, quality over quantity, right? And that's exactly what we are. I don't need to be the biggest of anything, and I don't even need to talk about it, right? It's, I don't even like talking about myself, but yeah. I want to be the absolute best at what I do. And I'm okay with there being plenty of other funds out there. I'm okay with there being a bunch of different brokerages out there, but our method works for us and it works for our investors, right? So
if we could talk about that, I know you can't share too much detail because there's regulations and rules,
correct.
But I mean, the whole concept is, investors put money in and you put it to work to beautify the community.
Yeah, that's exactly right. I mean, essentially this was our answer to our inventory crisis, right? Because, as we are currently in, everybody knows that the Lehigh Valley is hot. So there's a lot of money coming here, and it becomes increasingly challenging to consistently find new inventory, right? And you and I, DeJesus, work really, really hard on the inventory crisis, right? But there gets to be a point where you can only do so much for a client, right? So I want to be able to find properties for people that they can invest in different ways, right? So right now, investors are finding less inventory. 1031 exchanges are harder to complete because of all of that. So the fund to me was just another opportunity, right? I'm happy to take all my time to source the deal, right? But it's going to go through the fund is how it's going to work. So it was like an answer to another question. I believe that, your investments always need to be in different vehicles, right? You should never put all your money in the stock market. You should never put all your money in real estate. And if you have most of your money in real estate, it should be in different types of ventures, right? So, the people that own the doors and own the properties now still need other sources to diversify their portfolio to be the best and have the most protection. That's what the fund is about. So everything that I just described about what we do as an organization and how we protect people's money is 100% how my fund's going to operate. I'm not practicing with people's money, right? I'm doing what I do all day long, and I have all the services provided. So we're going to buy B and C class. Absolutely. I will not buy an A class property. We're going to fix and flip and, to build up cash reserves. We're going to, only work with the best of the best lenders for leverage. We are going to find off-market deals. I'm going to scour, the blighted list and anything that I need to do to find the properties. And, our investors that are part of the fund are going to reap the benefits of that. So that's what we're doing. B and C class only in the Lehigh Valley and doing things that I know are slam dunk. And if it's not a slam dunk, I won't buy it.
Well, you're not as secret as you used to be now. So people know for DeJesus. I mean, I'm incredibly excited for you. I'm excited to watch you, help you however we can. Maybe we can share some information. I don't know how we can support, but congratulations. I know it's been a crazy road, and sadly we're running out of time. So Jeremy, the one last question I always like to ask is, what's your favorite restaurant in the Valley or in this Allentown, Bethlehem, Easton area?
Oh my God, I am a food connoisseur. That's why.
Got to pick one.
Oh my God, I would say probably Apollo Grill.
Nice.
That's a good one.
Good choice.
That's a good one.
We've been having this running thing. We ask everybody right at the end what their favorite
Although
restaurant
you
is.
should ask me what I was eating, because depending on what I'm eating will tell you what the restaurant is. But yeah, pretty much you can't go wrong if you're in downtown Bethlehem. That's what I can tell you.
There you go. And you'll see Jennifer's office, which is right near downtown. We have all her information below. Please contact her. My partner, Jeremy, is here. Jeremy Moyer. I'm Tejas Gosai. This is Real Estate Investor MBA. We're super excited to have topics like this, and we look forward to having more programs and some questions. So cheers. Thank you, guys. Thank you, Jennifer. Thank you, Jeremy.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.